You know, in all of truckdom, there is no more unsung hero or least glamorous job than that of being a suspension component. Yet these unsung heroes do such a great job of how a truck feels, holds up, and handles. So the execution of engineering and investment here is critical. Let me give you an example. This is the upper control arm. This is what we call the hub carrier or upright. Now this is a big beefy piece that actually keeps the wheel, tire, brake, and caliper attached to the vehicle. To give you an idea, you remove it off the F-150, here's what it looks like. Now in direct comparison, Chevrolet comes out with an all-new Silverado and had a real opportunity to catch up in terms of total design. As you can see, they chose not to. You know, it's a subtle thing, but it hides behind the wheel and you don't see it. You can see the difference in durability potential just in looking at the size of fit. Now, based at the bottom of this thing is what they call the lower control arm, and this thing works hard for a living. This is where all the bump and road shock comes into the vehicle, noise as well. So in terms of built Ford tough, you want to engineer this from a couple of key perspectives. You want it strong, yet you want it light, because light lowers the unsprung weight and improves the handling of the vehicle. So Ford uses this. It's actually a forged aluminum piece. This thing is critical to how come this truck feels so good. Now, this thing does a great job because it's aluminum beating road noise. It's also lower in unsprung weight, so it improves handling, and you can tell by its size and density, this thing is durable. To give you an idea, here's what Chevrolet went with. Got to tell you, very, very heavy, so huge in unsprung weight. As you can see, there's no mass to it in terms of density, so it can't eat near the amount of road frequency or road noise. It's a subtlety of detail that, quite frankly, a lot of F-150 owners appreciate and don't even know why it's happening. Now, as it turns out, these components are no less critical at the rear as well. So let's go take a look. Well, if we talk about unsung heroes, it doesn't get any more unglamorous than being the rear suspension. Which is really kind of a shame because I don't think it gets its due. This is really critical componentry, and it can play such a large role in the stability, handling, and frankly, the load capabilities of the truck. To give you an idea, the Ford F-150 for 07 will tow 11,000 pounds. Think about that as a driver. You want to be in control of that kind of mass, and to do it, the suspension's one of the key players. Now, on the rear, we use a thing called the leaf spring. These are really very effective at load variables, like cargo, big trailer mass. These springs do very good at adjusting those different weights. But they've got another key role. Remember, they are the connecting link for the rear end, the rear axle, the brakes, wheels, and tires. There's a lot of leverage back here, particularly when you add a trailer. You don't want this area moving around. That's called rear steer, and it would make a vehicle very unstable. So to stabilize it and to make certain it stays well and solid, guess what they do? At Ford, they build the leaf springs 3 inches wide. GM chooses to go with 2.5 inches. It's not a monstrous difference until you go to compare the percentages. Remember, it occurs on both sides. To control this monstrous spring, well, guess what? Ford brings its shock absorbers outboard. It actually helps a bit in roll control, stabilizes the vehicle, and improves the ride quality. General Motors still mounts them inboard. Not dead sure why they do it. Another key thing you need to be aware of back here. We're talking about 11,000 pounds. You want to be able to stop that. You want to be able to stop that several times, and particularly on a long grade. And if you understand the job of brakes, taking motion and reducing it to heat, you can begin to appreciate how important it is that brakes get rid of heat. That's what disc brakes do so well. General Motors sticks with drum brakes. Now, drum brakes stop pretty good. The problem is they build up heat real fast. And as you can see, trapped in there, hard to get rid of. The only way to get disc brakes on a Silverado, you got to order their optional max tow package. I love that this is standard. You know, it may be the unsung heroes, but they are so critical into what Ford calls leadership. Boy, I love this hardware.